3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, this is Mr. Silva. Welcome to my house. I'm just going to show you around a little bit here. Come on in. As you well know, we're learning something new in math class, so I wanted to talk about systems of three equations. This is an equation, should look familiar. X, Y, Z. There's X, Y, and Z. We do this kind of math all the time in my house. We're going to solve this system, so if I add these two equations together, Z take away Z eliminates, right? We can eliminate those two. So we'll add 2x and add x, 3x. 1y plus 2y is 3y, and 5 plus 3 is 8. Then I added equation 2 and 3, because the goal is to eliminate Z. X plus 2x is 3x. 2y take away 4y, negative 2y. Those z's eliminate, and 3 take away 1 is 2. The next step would be to eliminate x or y, and obviously x would be easier to eliminate. So I'm going to go ahead and finish that off. Let's eliminate x there. So x eliminates. 5y equals 6. Y equals 6 over 5. We've done that. Okay. Now we're going to get to graphing. We're going to figure out how to graph this system of equations. What does it mean to graph a system of equations? So let's go look over here. So we're graphing in 3 dimensions. So our 3 equations are x, y, and z variable. I showed some pictures of, you guys can stop the video anytime to take some notes. But we have x, y, and z. I just went to Google and looked for system of 3 equations, but we're going to talk about what they look like. Ultimately, if we're going to graph online, we'll graph something like this. So here's a parabola graphed in 3 dimensions. That's often called a saddle. As you guys go on to math analysis and calculus, you'll learn to graph things like this in 3 equations. Now we're used to graphing in 2 equations. There's a linear equation, x and y, 2 dimensions. So the guy that invented this stuff, Euclid, came around. He did everything in 2 dimensions back in the Greek times. Obviously his name is Euclid. So Euclid said, you know what, the world is flat. But later on we found out the world was round, a sphere. And this guy named David Hilbert, back in the early 1900s, he invented spherical geometry and talked about places at certain points. So that's what a system of 3 equations is. We're looking for points in space. So let's look at what the graph looks like. You guys sit down and eat. Sit down and eat, okay? Alright, so here's the x, y, z coordinate system. So if we look at this, if I graph this, I got x, I got y, and I have z. So I'm going to plot a point in that coordinate system.
Can't see the red marker.
I'm going to plot a point on the graph. So if I go in the x direction, here's x. I plotted x. Go 1, 2, 3 in the x direction. So that's when x is 3. So if I go 3, I'm going to go 2 in the y direction. 1, 2 in the y direction. And if I go in the z direction, I'm going to go up. So I can count how many units I go up in the z direction. So I'm going to graph a point in space. That point is out in space. Let's take a look at a different graph. Let's talk about how to make that graph. So I'm going to try to make the graph. Assuming Brandon will move out of the way a little bit. Come here, buddy. Stand right there. Here, back up so they can see. That's Layla. So here's how to make it. We could do 2 dimensions. We just do like we normally do. Here's x and y. So there's x. Here's y. We're going to make this